All right, everyone. What we're going to do now is introduce you to our movement prep series for the hop portion of the AMI. Now, our hop portion of the AMI looked directly at movement symmetry. So was one side of the body able to move differently, significantly enough, than the other side of the body? So what we're going to do with this first part is learn how to land from a hop. What we're going to do is we're going to step on the box. Now, right now we're using a 6-inch box. If you cannot do it with the 6-inch box, go to a smaller box. We're going to take one step forward, hop off, and land on a single leg. Just like that. Now, couple qualities of his land. First one, we landed completely flat on our foot, but quietly. We want our foot to be right in the center. When we land, we don't want to be landing on our toes. We don't want to be landing on our heels. We also don't want to be landing like a 500-pound horse right in the center. We don't want to hear this very, very loud. What you want to do is land very, very quietly. So, land quietly. Second thing to think about, his knee stayed right in line with his foot. What we don't want to see is that knee wobbling around. A lot of athletes will show the inability to dynamically control their knee as soon as they start moving. They may be able to show good dynamic control whenever they squat, but as soon as they start hopping, the knee control goes all the way crazy. So, control the knee, and the third thing we're going to look at is, can we absorb the force? Okay? Now what this is going to look like is that when you land, you're able to slowly control the knee down. We don't just land and stick it on a straight leg. Okay? So let's land quietly, knee in line, just like that. Now let's look at this from the side. What we're going to do is step off the box, land on one foot. There you go. Now as you can see, when he landed, he absorbed the force. He didn't stick it with a straight leg, and the body was controlled for. If you notice his position when he lands, let's hop down. This mimics the exact same position that we got into with our single leg squats earlier. So if you can do a single leg squat with good technique, now let's make it more dynamic. You should be able to do this with good technique. Okay? Try this at home. As you get better, you can go to a bigger box. This does not need to be performed, however, off a box maybe greater than 18 inches. Single leg boxes need to be used, or smaller boxes need to be used with the single leg depth drop. Okay? Try that at home. All right, everyone, what we're going to do now is introduce our next progression for the hopping corrective exercise section of the AMI. What we're going to do is a jump straight forward on a line. Now, this is similar to what we did actually in the testing portion of the AMI, except we're actually going to start with a lower progression. We're going to start on 2 legs, and then we'll work our way to 1. What we're going to do is we're going to start in the good jumping position. Our feet are straight forward, shoulder width apart, and our toes are straight forward. What we're going to do is we're going to bring our arms up. We're going to come down for a counter movement. Notice we sit our hips back, our knees stay in line. And as we jump, we're going to land softly in that exact same position. Now, what does this mimic? The air squat that we learned earlier. The hips are back, the knees are in line with the feet, and we landed softly with our toes straight forward. Now, I want to show you what a lot of people will do to start this jump. What they'll do is they'll actually let their knees come in, and when they land, they'll also show poor control of their knees. So I'll show that, knees coming in, landing with the knees in. That is a bad position to be in because it actually puts us in a position where we can really injure ourselves, especially in the knees. So let's learn how to correct that movement right now with a good line jump. So hips go back, knees stay in line, we load up our hips, and we land in a good position, mimicking the air squat that everyone learned in the first part of the AMI corrective series. Okay? Try that at home. All right, everyone. Now that you've mastered the line jump, let's increase the demands on our body to perform it with good technique, and let's do it with 1 foot. Now, this is the exact motion that we tested in the earlier portion of the AMI. So what we're going to do is we're going to stand on 1 foot. We're going to perform a counter movement just like we did before with the double leg. We load our hips up by pushing them back, arms come down, jump forward, land on 1 foot. Now, when we land on 1 foot, just like before, we're mimicking the exact same technique that we wanted to show you with the single leg squat earlier, okay? We landed softly, our knees stay in line, our foot center of gravity is right in the middle. We're not on our heels, we're not on our toes, and we're keeping our trunk in a good upright position. So let's try that one more time. Hips come back. Very good, just like that. Now, I want to show you one of the common mistakes that most people make. First off, they will not let their hips come back off the start. They will actually push their knee forward. Now, like I said earlier with the single leg squat, if we allow our knee to dip forward, we're transferring all that pressure onto our knee and not loading up the big strong muscles of our hip. That's where we're actually gonna get the most knee control, is through our hip. So we need to get our hip back first, drive forward, land softly, and with our knee in line. Okay, try that at home. You've mastered the single line hop. What we're gonna do is we're gonna make it more dynamic. We're actually going to do 3 hops in a row. Now, what this can do is it actually throws a little loop, because a lot of people might be able to control for 1 hop, but once you start doing more than 1, it places so much demand on the body to control their body that their knee starts to wobble around and they may falter and not be able to show good movement quality. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna show 3 hops. Now, just because of our space right now, we're not gonna jump as far, but we are gonna show you 3 consecutive hops, landing the last one with good stability, good knee control, and our body in a good position. Okay? 1, 2, stick. Just like that. So that's our coordinates. 1, 2, stick the last one, making sure that our knee is in line and our body's landing nice and soft. Okay, let's try one more time. 1, 2, stick. Perfect, just like that. Try that at home. All right, everyone, I want to show you our next progression in our movement prep series for the hopping portion of the AMI. What we're going to do is introduce you to a lateral skater step. Now, in all of our other videos so far, we've shown you corrective exercises in a straightforward plane of motion. What happens is that most of our injuries, however, occur in a lateral plane of motion. Whenever we jump, land, and try to twist, or if we try to cut, an inability to control our body is usually the turning point for how we get injured. So let's correct for that right now with some basic corrective exercises. What we're gonna do is introduce you to the lateral skater step that mimics more of a speed skater that you might see in the Olympics. So we're gonna start on one foot, we're gonna hop laterally and land on the other foot with our knee in line and our foot straight forward. Now let's try that one more time. Hop sideways, land on a single foot. As you can see, he's got good control of his body, his hips are back, his chest is forward, so our balance is right in the middle of our foot. Our knee is straight forward, in line with our foot, which is also straight forward and nice and flat on the ground. What does this mimic? It mimics the exact same positions that we tried to focus on with all of our other earlier single leg squat progressions. Okay? Whenever we do this, we have our hips back and our knee stays in line. Let's look at this from sideways point of view. We're going to hop sideways, land, our hips are back, our chest is forward, so our center of gravity is right in the middle of our foot, our knees in line, and we landed softly. Those are the big things that we want to look for in this. Try that at home, and then I'll show you the next progression after this. It's now time to learn how to hop laterally on one foot the entire time. What we're gonna do is we're gonna start on our right foot. We're gonna hop laterally and land on that same foot. Hop sideways, land. This is more difficult than the lateral skater step, and thus is at the end of our movement prep series for this hopping portion. So let's try that one more time. Land sideways, flat, knee stays in line, hips are back, chest is forward, we're balanced, and our knees in line, so it's very controlled forward. This is a very important aspect that most corrective programs out there will not give you. We need to focus on this, and thus we can help reduce our risk of injury throughout our competitive season, especially in movements that require cutting and quick turning in a lateral direction. Try that at home. We'll see you later.